Have you ever noticed how some people seem to just, well, bounce back from failure while others kind of crumble?
Yeah. Or how some teams just click,
Hmm.
They innovate while others seem stuck.
Exactly. Doing things the same old way. Today, we're diving deep into the powerful, often invisible force behind all that your mindset.
hmm This is all about mindset, that set of attitudes, beliefs, basically how we see the world and ourselves.
Right. We've looked at a lot for the big Wikipedia entry on mindset, and also a really great summary of Carol Dweck's huge book, Mindset, The New Psychology of Success.
That's the foundational one for a lot of this.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to give you a clearer picture of what mindsets are, how they actually work under the hood.
And crucially, how recognizing them, maybe even shifting them, can unlock, well, new levels of achievement, resilience, growth.
Think of it like understanding your own internal operating system.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, let's dig into this. Before we jump into the different types, maybe we should just establish what is a mindset fundamentally.
Right. So at its core, a mindset refers to an established set of attitudes. Could be for a person, could be for a group.
Okay.
And it's not just a quick thought, it's deeper. It covers things like culture, values, philosophy,
Yeah.
your general outlook.
So it develops from our core beliefs about life, basically.
Often, yes. It stems from that worldview.
So it's really more than just a passing thought. It sounds like a deep, almost foundational lens we use.
Precisely. It's like the software running in the background.
Hmm.
And scholars have found it has all these functional effects.
Like what?
Well, it acts like a filter for how we perceive things.
Right.
It gives us a frame of reference, a system for making meaning out of stuff.
Huh.
And it shapes how we learn. Are we just passive? Or do we make small tweaks? Or do we actually have transformative learning? It even affects our behavior, decision-making, leadership styles, lots of things.
Okay, here's where it gets potentially a bit sticky, right?
hmm
Sometimes a mindset can get so ingrained it creates what's called cognitive inertia.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. Cognitive inertia,
Hmm.
or groupthink in teams.
Right. Cognitive inertia, where you keep using old habits, old tools, even when they just don't work anymore. Your brain's stuck in a rut.
Or groupthink, where the team just wants to agree
Yeah.
and nobody wants to rock the boat, even if the boat is heading for an iceberg.
Yeah, we've all seen that happen. Bad decisions because everyone's afraid to speak up.
It shows how powerful these frameworks can become, how embedded.
Which, makes you wonder, where did this whole idea of mindset even come from? It feels very current, but is it?
That's a good question. It's actually quite interdisciplinary. The roots go back further than you might think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, early psychology and education studies back in the 1910s, 1920s,
Mm.
names like Bolton and Thorndike pop up.
Wow.
But it really took off, expanded massively between the 80s and the 2000s. Now it influences everything from international relations.
International relations, seriously.
Yeah, and mindfulness, systems change theory, adult development, it's spread quite wide.
Mm.
So not new, but the modern focus is huge.
Okay, so we often think of mindset as individual, what's in my head.
Right.
But you mentioned groups earlier. The concept applies to collectives too, organizations.
Absolutely. It's not just you. It's the U.S. The idea of a collective mindset is fascinating.
How does that work?
Well, someone like Edwin Hutchins, for instance, he looked at naval navigators. He saw the whole navigation team as one cognitive unit.
Like a single brain working together.
Kind of, yeah, functioning with this shared mental framework. And Maximilian Senges looked at collective mindsets in university strategy, how the institution itself thinks.
That reminds me of Eric Erickson's work. He talked about Native American groups where their historic identity as buffalo hunters
Right, that collective identity.
created totally different motivations compared to, say, a modern plan focused on housing and wealth. And the two just couldn't connect easily.
Exactly, different mental playbooks, like you said. And institutions definitely have collective mindsets. Think about the entrepreneurial mindset.
Okay, yeah, you hear that buzzword.
It's more than a buzzword, though. It refers to a person, or, importantly, an institution that doesn't just put up with uncertainty, it actually values it, sees opportunity in it.
So it fosters certain things.
Definitely. Things like autonomy, innovation, taking calculated risks, being proactive, even competitive aggressiveness. It shapes the whole culture.
So pulling this together for someone listening, it means the mindsets floating around us at work, in our community, our culture.
They powerfully shape our own experiences,
Uh,
often without us even noticing.
and it's not just one type of mindset affecting us. You mentioned there are other ways our internal frames work.
Oh, loads. Before we dive deep into Dweck, it's worth just touching on a couple more to show the breadth, like abundance versus scarcity.
Okay, abundance versus scarcity mindset. What's the difference there?
Think about a team operating with an abundance mindset. They believe there are plenty of resources, ideas, opportunities to go around.
So they'd be more collaborative, share ideas more.
Exactly. Less fear of competition, more innovation, because they're not hoarding.
Hmm.
A scarcity mindset, though, sees everything as limited.
And that leads to?
It can lead to something called functional fixedness. You only see things in their most obvious use. A hammer is only for nails.
Right, you don't see it could be a paperweight or a lever. It limits
Yeah,
creativity.
Precisely. It dictates whether you expand possibilities or just narrow them down.
Amazing how that one lens shifts everything.
And briefly, you also get things like productive versus defensive mindsets in companies affects transparency, growth, or deliberative versus implemental mindsets. Are you planning the goal or actually doing it? And promotion versus prevention, aiming for gains or avoiding losses. Different filters again.
So many different frames.
But the big one, the one that's really captured attention and seems most transformative, is Carol Dweck's work.
Right, on fixed versus growth mindsets. Let's break this down. This is key.
It really is. Dweck basically suggests we can place people somewhere on a spectrum based on how they think about where ability comes from. Is it fixed or can it grow?
Simple idea, huge implications. Okay, let's start with the fixed mindset. What does that actually look like day to day?
Someone with a predominantly fixed mindset believes their intelligence, their talents, are pretty much set in stone, static, unchangeable.
Like they're born with it or not?
Essentially, yeah. So they feel this constant pressure to prove themselves. Every challenge, every task becomes a test of their inherent worth. Success is about proving you're naturally gifted, which means they often develop a real fear of failure. They might avoid challenges where they might not look smart.
And ignore feedback.
Yeah, especially negative feedback, because it feels like a judgment on that fixed ability. Failure suggests, see, I just don't have what it takes.
That sounds exhausting, like you're constantly performing, always defending your smartness.
It can be incredibly limiting, both personally and, say, in a team environment. Less collaboration, less risk-taking.
Okay, so that's the fixed side. What about the flip side? The growth mindset.
Right. So those with more of a growth mindset believe the opposite. They think abilities, intelligence, these can be developed.
Through
effort, through learning strategies, through persistence over time. They see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities.
opportunities to get better.
Exactly, to grow. They're generally more resilient when they hit obstacles. They understand effort isn't a sign of weakness, it's the path to getting good at something.
So failure isn't devastating.
It's still not fun, but it's seen more as information, feedback, a chance to learn, figure out what went wrong, and increase their abilities. The brain isn't fixed hardware, it's dynamic, upgradable.
What a fundamentally different way to approach life, work, everything. So what does Dweck say this means for us, practically?
Well, her book really hammers home how deeply these beliefs impact us. Our achievements, relationships, personal development.
Any examples?
Sure. Students with a growth mindset. They tend to do better academically, they relish challenges, they bounce back from poor grades by working harder or smarter. Failure is a learning signal.
And outside of school, in business.
Same principles apply. Leaders with a growth mindset tend to create environments with better teamwork, more engaged employees, more innovation, because they believe their people can develop.
It's about unlocking potential then, yours and others.
Absolutely. And it connects strongly to this idea of grit, that blend of passion and perseverance.
Angela Duckworth's work.
Right. Studies suggest that having a growth mindset combined with that grit significantly bumps up your chances of success, even if you're starting from a tougher socioeconomic background. It's a powerful mix.
Okay, one of the most maybe counterintuitive things from Dweck's work is about praise, isn't it?
Yes. The praise point is huge. It turns out that praising kids for being smart or talented.
Which feels like the natural thing to do.
Right. But it can actually backfire. It can foster a fixed mindset.
Oh.
Because the child thinks, oh, I'm smart. I need to keep looking smart. So they might start avoiding challenges where they risk not looking smart, where they might fail.
Wow. So telling your kid they're brilliant might actually make them less likely to try hard things.
It can. The research strongly suggests praising the process is much better long-term.
Praising the process, meaning
Praising the effort they put in, the strategies they tried, the choices they made, their persistence, their improvement. That's what builds resilience and a love of learning. It encourages them to keep trying, even when it's hard.
That completely reframes how you talk to kids or even colleagues. Focus on the work, not the label.
Exactly. And this ties right into coping with setbacks and failures.
Okay.
If you have a growth mindset, a setback isn't proof you're incapable. It's just part of the process. You mentioned Michael Jordan earlier, cut from his high school team.
Right. Classic example.
With the right mindset, that doesn't define you. It fuels you. It becomes a driver for progress, for learning what you need to do better.
Okay. And maybe the most hopeful part of all this.
The malleability.
Yeah, the idea that your mindset isn't fixed either.
Absolutely central. Mindsets are not static traits carved in stone. We can shift towards growth.
How? Is it easy?
Not necessarily easy, but possible. It starts with self-awareness. Noticing your own fixed mindset triggers. When do you feel defensive about your abilities? When do you shy away from challenge?
Okay, so recognize the pattern.
Then consciously work to cultivate growth responses. Maybe it's changing your internal self-talk. Instead of, I can't do this, maybe I can't do this yet.
Adding that yet.
Or just understanding deeply that effort and setbacks are normal, expected parts of learning anything worthwhile. It's like learning to rewrite your own internal software code.
And this isn't just for individuals trying to improve, right? These ideas have broader uses.
Oh, definitely. Huge applications.
Yeah.
Helping at-risk students, kids in special education. There's even research on reducing negative effects of substance use on teen reasoning by shifting mindsets. And it's not just students. Think about teachers. Training teachers to adopt and model a growth mindset can directly impact how their students perceive their own abilities and potential. The ripple effect is enormous.
Incredible potential. But like any big idea, it's probably not that simple, right? There must be nuances, maybe criticisms.
Absolutely. And it's crucial we talk about those too. No theory is a silver bullet, and Dweck's work isn't an exception. We need to apply it responsibly.
So what are some of the caveats?
Well, Dweck herself points out, nobody is pure growth mindset all the time in every area of their life. We all have fixed mindset triggers.
Okay, that makes sense. It's more of a spectrum or situational.
Right. And she warned about the false growth mindset.
False growth mindset.
Yeah, where people sort of nod along, say, oh, yes, growth mindset, great. But their actual behaviors don't change. They really agas of ability can be developed.
Just paying lip service to the idea.
Pretty much. She also cautioned against praising effort alone if the effort isn't effective or the results aren't there. Effort needs strategy. Blind effort isn't the answer.
Okay, so it's not just try hard and everything works out. It's try smart, learn from feedback, adjust strategy.
Exactly. And some broader critiques exist too. Some researchers worry that overemphasizing how much abilities can change might have downsides if not handled carefully.
Like what?
For example, there was a large randomized controlled trial back in 2019. It looked at growth mindset interventions in schools and found no significant boost in numeracy or literacy.
Oh, interesting.
And another study, just this year, 2024, it confirmed Dweck's scales for measuring mindset are reliable, statistically sound.
Okay.
But in their specific study, they didn't find a link between having a growth mindset and actually achieving goals.
Huh. So what does that tell us?
It tells us it's complex. These findings don't necessarily invalidate the core idea, but they highlight that mindset is likely one piece of a much bigger puzzle. How interventions are designed, the context, individual differences, and that it all matters. It requires thoughtful, nuanced application, not just a blanket approach.
Right, so incredibly valuable concept, but needs careful thought in how it's used, not a magic wand.
Precisely.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. From the basic definition of mindset through collective mindsets, different frames like abundant scarcity.
And then the deep dive into Dweck's fixed and growth mindsets, the core ideas, the power, the applications.
And importantly, those nuances and criticisms too.
What all this offers you, the listener, is hopefully a powerful lens, a way to understand yourself better, but also the people, the teams, the organizations around you.
Maybe next time you face a challenge, pause for a second. Ask yourself, am I approaching this thinking my abilities are fixed, like that unchangeable RAM?
Or are you approaching it with that conviction, maybe just a nascent conviction that you can develop, that your system can be upgraded through effort, learning, and persistence?
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. If we truly accept that our minds are malleable, not just in learning a specific skill, but in the actual frame we use to see the world, if that core operating system itself can be updated, what then becomes possible for us? What could we achieve? Or maybe even what could we become?